How to become a millionaire, step by step. Today I will share with you my personal journey and the wealth of knowledge I've gathered over the years, which has taken me from being a regular individual to a millionaire by the age of 27 and a multimillionaire by the age of 30. Firstly, it's important to understand that this didn't happen overnight. The accomplishments I've achieved were a result of years of learning, perseverance, and hard work. I didn't just wake up one day and found $1 million in my bank account. I started from scratch and learned every tiny aspect related to wealth creation. Now there's a concept, a myth that has been ingrained in our minds from a young age. You've probably heard the term, get rich quick. It's an idea that our society has been led to believe is a negative one. The concept suggests that if you make money in a short span of time, or if your wealth builds up quickly, it is a bad idea. We're told that it's dubious, possibly illicit, or even a scam. I would like you to reconsider this perspective. Make no mistake, creating wealth quickly is not an easy task. It requires a blend of intelligence, persistence, and sometimes a bit of luck. But it is not necessarily an immoral or shady path to follow. The truth is, accumulating wealth over a short period of time requires a shift in mindset. It requires one to embrace risk, to be able to see opportunities where others see obstacles. It requires one to be proactive, to take decisive actions, and most importantly, it requires one to have a relentless desire to succeed. Over the years, I've observed that people who are wealthy tend to think differently. They are not afraid of change. They are willing to take the road less traveled, break away from traditional norms, and chart their own course. They have a deep understanding of the adage, time is money, and they would rather their time in activities that would yield higher returns. When I encounter people who express skepticism about the get-rich-quick concept, I generally ask them to ponder upon this. What's the alternative? Is it get rich slowly? How slow is slow? If you have the ability and the opportunity to accumulate wealth quickly, why would you choose to do it slowly? Many people fall into the trap of conforming to societal norms and expectations. They settle for mediocrity and comfort, instead of striving for greatness and financial independence. They choose to work a 9-to-5 job, living paycheck to paycheck, instead of pursuing their dreams. And if someone questions your desire to accumulate wealth quickly, don't let it deter your ambition. Instead, take it as an opportunity to educate them about the merits and demerits of both paths. Explain to them that being wealthy doesn't necessarily equate to being unethical or immoral. They need to understand that wealth is not a measure of a person's character, but a reflection of their work, perseverance, and smart decisions. When people say, "Oh, is this get rich quick?" you better hope that it is, because you don't have time to get rich slow. Now, what exactly do I mean when I say this? When we talk about wealth, we often equate it to how much money a person has. This is a common misconception, a stereotype that society has etched into our minds over time. But the reality is quite different. Wealth, in its most profound sense, is not just quantified by the material possessions can accumulate, or how much money you have stashed away in your bank account. No, it's much more profound than that. It's measured more in time than in just money. Let me explain this concept with a hypothetical situation. Imagine this. You are earning $25,000 a year. It's not a monumental sum, but it's not meager either. It's a decent income, one that can afford you a comfortable life. Now let's extend this scenario over a period of 40 years. If you do the math, which I am sure you are already doing in your head, you'd have made a total of $1 million. Now, that's a significant sum, isn't it? Absolutely, $1 million is no small feat. But now comes the most crucial question. Does this make you rich? Your initial instinct might be to say yes. After all, $1 million is a lot of money. But the answer is more complicated than that. The answer, in fact, is no. Why not, you might ask? Because it took you long years to amass this $1 million. Now let's consider a different scenario. A scenario that involves the same coveted $1 million, but the time frame to earn it changes drastically. Instead of 40 years, you make that same $1 million within a span of 12 months, within just 1 year. That's a serious game changer, isn't it? Now if I were to pose the question to you, are you rich? Your answer undoubtedly would be a resounding yes. Now you are a millionaire, you've earned the same sum of money, a whopping $1 million, but in a significantly shorter span of time. So what exactly is the difference in these scenarios? The amount of money remains the same, the coveted $1 million. The only difference, the vital difference, is the time that it takes for you to it. Time, my friends, is indeed the most precious commodity that we possess. And here's the beautiful part of it all. When you make your money in a relatively short period of time, guess what? Now, you have a larger expanse of time to enjoy it. Instead of working tirelessly, waiting to hit the retirement age of 65 and then hoping you have about 10 years to enjoy your hard-earned money, why not enjoy it for a longer time? Why not spend 30, 40, 50, even 60 years basking in the fruits of your labor? That is the crux of the matter. That's why wealth is not measured in how much money you make. It's about how fast you make that money. It's about time and how you leverage it to create wealth. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. It's not about the sum total at the end, but about the pace at which you reach it. That, my friends, is the essence of wealth. And that's what I mean when I say wealth is not just about money, it's about the time you take to earn it. What would it feel like if one day you woke up to find that you're making $1 million a month? Let's dwell on that thought for a moment. It's quite a heady one. We're not talking about $1 million a year, but $1 million every single month. Ponder on the magnitude of that amount. Isn't it hard to even begin to imagine? That's a whopping $12 million a year. Now let's put this into perspective. The individual who has the fortune of earning $1 million a month is 12 times wealthier than the person who earns $1 million a year. Let that sink in. Imagine that difference, the difference in lifestyles, the difference choices, the difference in freedom. You could almost say it's a completely different world. Moreover, this wealthy individual is practically incomparable to someone else who makes a total of $25,000 a year for a long span of 40 years. They are, in fact, 480 times richer. This is a disparity so enormous that it's hard to fathom. This is not merely a gap, it's a chasm. It's a difference that fundamentally alters the way one perceives value, investment, and worth. Therefore, it's no surprise to see that people who are rich have a different lens through which they view time and money. We, the wealthy ones, value time more than we value money. On the other hand, those who are less fortunate economically, they value money more than they value time. This dichotomy isn't really about who is or wrong, but about different realities and circumstances, different priorities and urgencies. You see, if there's something minor that needs to be done, for instance, my Bentley needs an oil change or perhaps some part of it needs to be fixed, I won't do it myself. I won't personally roll up my sleeves to get it done. Why? Because it's not worth my time. My time is much more valuable. The time I would spend on fixing the car is time I could be using to undertake activities that could generate more money. And it isn't just about more money. It's also about the opportunity cost. The projects I could be working on, the deals I could closing, the experiences I could be having, and the legacies I could be building. Every moment spent on lesser priorities is a moment stolen from higher ones. You might be shaking your head at this point, thinking, well, it's easy for you to say all this. And you're right, it is easy for me to say this. Why? Because I'm Dan Lok. But remember, there was a time where I wasn't Dan Lok, yet here I am. I started somewhere and so can you.